My first interview was just a total disaster.
Hey there, Hardcore Nation. I'm here in Toronto, and I found someone that I'm going to ask about professional athletes and their salaries. So I'm here with
Lisette.
Hi, Lisette.
The first girl was really friendly. I thought I was going to be able to get a lot out of her.
Lisette, would you consider yourself an advanced sports knowing person? Do you have a high sports IQ?
No, not at all.
I did have questions. There was questions I could ask people, like, even if they weren't huge sports fans, I could get an opinion, but she was just not feeling it.
Stats Canada says that the Prime Minister of Canada makes about just over $300,000 a year. Meanwhile, Sidney Crosby, who is inarguably the face of sports in Canada, makes $8.7 million a year. What do you think about that stat and the big difference between those two numbers?
Well, I guess the obvious thing to say here would be that's unfair.
And I'm just like, okay, what do you think of that? And she says to me,
I really don't have an opinion on that. I'm sorry.
Oh, you don't have an opinion?
I don't know. I asked Rick about it. I did not know what to do.
Why do you think that is? What would be your first guess as to why that is?
Unfair? Yeah. Well, I mean, oh dear, I'm so the wrong person to be interviewing on this question.
This isn't going well.
so I don't know, it was a total disaster, and like, I'm really not feeling good about this elimination.
I'm sorry to put you on the spot here like this, but I'm gonna say thanks and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks so much.
That was terrible!
Oh man, that was a disaster. Don't worry about it.
Hello, Square Nation. I'm with Jeff.
Brent came in, and his second interview went a little long. So I was pretty rushed for time when I went for that second interview, and I look over and like the manager, producer, whatever, is like, all right, 15. I'm like, what? He's like, seconds. And I'm just like, oh.
It's because of the amount of revenue they draw in. Sorry, Kevin, I'm gonna have to cut you off. We're running out of time here. You've been great. Thanks a lot. So that's our verdict, Toronto. People on the streets have a problem with the high salaries paid by athletes.
Thank you very much, folks.
Man, I'm just gonna look like an idiot on TV. It was hard. It's like you're playing Super Mario Brothers and you know you're on your last life. Like, man, my confidence is rattled.
Going last into the streeter competition, I felt like we needed, Austin and I, that is, needed to do a good job. I mean, you're sitting there watching three guys run around. You know, whether they did good or not, that's irrelevant. You gotta hold up your end.
It was kind of like, let's go. I wanted to get going.
Today we're walking around the streets of downtown Toronto trying to find out about
The business of sports.
Working with Austin is a type of guy that when he gets loud, he will command attention. So I had to take that into account going in and say, I need myself to stand out in my own way.
Schumacher's your favorite sportsman, so you're a Formula One guy?
Absolutely.
I think that my ability to pretty much go on the fly, ad-lib, when I knew I wasn't prepared for that topic, helped me tremendously.
What do you think they've done, especially when they took away the Canadian Grand Prix last year and they moved it overseas?
Well, unfortunately, I didn't follow too much with the Grand Prix for the past 2 years, actually 3 years, you know, family, cats, and wife.
I'm sure it didn't come out as great if I had planned it, but you know what? I'm sure it looked like it ran well, which is more important to me.
So you absolutely believe that corporate sponsors is what's pulling that market?
Yes, they are investing into that market, and basically that's what helps basically technology grow. That's what I think.
Thank you very much for your time. What's your name again?
Dimitri.
Dimitri, I'm Rick. It was a pleasure. Have yourself a great day, all right?
I saw two guys that looked pretty chilled out. They were standing there, and you know, rocking the sunglasses, the hat. It looked like looked like, you know, me or you. And I said, well, listen, I've got a LeBron jersey here. This is the prep. I might just give it to you at some point, and you do whatever you want with it.
What is your opinion of LeBron James? You know what? It's all ridiculous, you know. Everybody's entitled to their decisions, whatnot. But to make a whole spectacle like that, like, it's ridiculous. I've had enough. I'm tired of it.
You've had enough of LeBron James.
You know, if I want that, I'll turn on some soap opera. Not in sports, please.
I could tell this guy, when I walked up to, I saw the guy, I could tell this guy had a lot of energy. I just happen to have a LeBron James Cleveland Cavaliers jersey. Dan, what would you do with that LeBron James jersey? What do you think about LeBron James?
Pretty good.
You're gonna kick the jersey? Stomp the jersey?
I think he's a definite member of the Jack squad, that's for sure.
I could hear guys laughing across the street about it. I could hear Sean Francois.
I was laughing hysterically when I saw this LeBron James jersey being put on Queen Street and then some truck rolling over it.
That right there is what a Toronto Raptors fan thinks.
LeBron James can't catch a ride in TO. We don't put up with that.
The biggest reaction was definitely garnered by Austin.
He was definitely the most animated, the most interactive. The people that he was interviewing were really sort of hyped up. They were jacked, just like Austin.
I think we have found the most jacked man in the city of Toronto. I'm Austin Spencer, Hardcore Nation. Be sure to stay tuned. We got the real emotion from a person who is obviously a LeBron hater. I've said it once, I've said it before, I'll say it again. I was absolutely jacked.
I mean, you obviously said, I wish I had more time, right?
Game time, game day is challenge day.
I took a larger chunk of time with one person.
At the end of the second interview, I had Austin coming into my back shot.
Time? 1 minute? 2 minutes left? 2 minutes left.
I could have my best friend across from me in a football game. If we're on the field and that game is on, I'm going to try to knock his head off.
Quick, Rick. I need the mic.
I had a Jay-Z line where I'm a businessman, not a businessman, and I didn't pull off that Jay-Z line, but I really wanted to ask him differently. I'm a businessman, not a businessman.
I don't believe Jay-Z is one of the greatest rappers of all time.
But if the consensus is that Austin stole the show, so be it for now. I'll have more time to prove myself. After the Streeter Challenge, I don't know if anyone else will admit to it yet, but the group dynamic has completely changed.
Before that, it was just, you know, we're all hanging out, we're having fun, and then it's like, okay, well, who's your biggest competition now?
And that was probably the most porous group hug I've ever seen, ever. And it's because we all knew that this is the beginning of the end.
We got a bunch of people who were able to flip the switch, just like an athlete does whenever they're on the field.
You really got to watch what you say. You can't be too close to anyone anymore. You need to gather yourself because it's just going to get harder from now on.
We should welcome Gillette drafted season 1 winner, Paul Brothers, to the judges table.
Thank you.
Paul Brothers. So there was only one clip out of everything that we saw that was shot today that I would actually put on the air right now, and that was it. Nothing else that I saw was even airable.
I think this was a disaster, Greg. And I'm looking at 5 people legitimately who, based on that challenge alone, I think you can send home. Easy.
Let's start with Sean and Meg. What were your impressions?
I didn't think it was overwhelming, the job they did, but I thought it was decent. I thought it was a decent job.
I mean, boring questions elicit boring answers, and a lot of that was boring.
I agree. My thing with Meg, I really liked Meg as well. I think she comes across well. People can relate to her and like her and everything, but I'm worried that she's just going to become a pretty girl with a microphone.
All right, Sid, Phil and Casey, what did you make of them?
Casey took a real step back. I still don't get the whole sports printout with the dollar. Like, what is this? Is this an eye exam all of a sudden? Like, what are we doing here?
I felt with Phil, I was far more captivated by the person he was interviewing than Phil. The guy he was talking to, I'd rather sit and listen to him than hear Phil's question. And a huge fumble on the Gillette branding.
Well, good thing I got Gillette odor shield deodorant and body wash to keep me nice and fresh.
Oh, that was actually that was painful.
Yeah.
From what I saw today, a whole lot of people took several steps back.
I think the one thing that buried a lot of people was the inability to figure out when to cut bait on these interviews.
Yeah.
I was rooting for Andrew, but I mean, that was rough.
Brent, to me, was a real disappointment. Here's a guy who I thought really stepped up on the first 2 challenges, but today he was totally unimpressive to me.
His sign-off at the end was borderline illegal. I believe somewhere that's against the rules.
or last group, Rick and Austin. I thought their stand up together right off the top set the tone for how this was gonna unfold. And I thought at that point, that was the most interesting thing I had seen.
Well, Greg, let's be honest. One of the two really set the tone, right? Let's tell it like it is. This was Austin's show, and it was his world, and Rick was just trying to get a nut.
If I was Rick, you know that Austin's got this over-the-top personality just from hanging around with him. You gotta bring your A game when your partner is Austin, I think, to stand out above him, because you know just his personality, Austin's. He's gonna stand out just by saying, jacked.
I find with Rick, I quite often forget about him in the challenge. I feel like I see his name on there and I'm like, oh right, Rick's in this. I forget about him.
He just kind of blends in?
Yeah, I'd say so.
I feel totally confident with him in his sports knowledge, but right now, that's about all I feel confident in. I'm not sure that he can deliver.
All right, are they ready? They're ready. Here we go, bring them in. Up you go, Tommy each. Shot, you stay. Yeah, keep shooting like that. 3, doing great. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Keep ready, 3. Take.
Hey guys. Welcome to the second elimination here on Gillette Drafted 2. In your last challenge, we had you go out and do a series of streeters, essentially interviews on the street with everyday people. You practiced hard with your flip cams, you honed your skills, and you went out and you did your thing. We have all seen every second of video that you guys shot within the allotted time. We'll get to all that in just a second, obviously. In the meantime, I'd like to reintroduce the panel. On-air personality and overall good person, Renee Paquette. Vice President of the Score Television Network and better person, Greg Sansone.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
He is my boss.
Mine too.
And you may notice the end of the table looks a little different. Cabby's on assignment, can't be with us right now. He'll be back in the competition a little later. However, I have to say, as far as replacements go for that chair, we couldn't have picked a better man than the guy who did essentially what you are trying to do right now. The winner of Gillette Drafted Season 1, Paul Brothers. Thanks for being here, Paul.
Thank you very much for having me.
You've enjoyed holding the belt.
Yes.
As Gillette Drafted champion. The belt, Austin.
I like
see
that.
a big grin.
I
You like the
that.
analogy?
That's fantastic.
How is your journey towards getting a title shot going?
It's going pretty well. I thought the challenge went really great, and I'm eager to hear what the judges had to say about it.
All right. Ask and you shall receive. Greg, how did Austin do?
Austin, you were great. You killed it. You had the prop with the LeBron jersey. You were out there really being very entertaining. You found the right guy, which is very important, and that's something that I could tell in the background you were working on doing. You brought him out, you guys were stomping on the LeBron jersey, and you were thinking on your feet too, which is really important, because I could tell you were listening to everything he was saying. It's not just like you had this template set where you were gonna go and say certain things with him. You made it clear that you were listening, you were adapting to what he was saying, the conversation was very engaging, and the whole thing had us laughing out loud. So you did a great job, congratulations. As a result, you win the challenge and you sail right through into the next challenge.
Thank you very much. Thank you, sir.
All right, Austin, you win. You do have a prize coming your way.
Okay.
Trust me, you'll find out details at the next challenge reveal. Head to the pen. You're safe, buddy. Nice job.
Okay, thank you guys.
Follow him. Hold. Hold.
How'd the rest of them do, Greg?
Well, here's the biggest difference between what Austin did and what all the rest of you did. What Austin did was something that I would put on the score today. Nothing you guys shot could I put on the score. Nothing.